Only on 10 tonight, one-on-one with President Obama.
Senator Schaad's Tom Schaad was invited inside the White House today.
He joins us now live from Washington, D.C. with this exclusive interview. Tom?
Well, Nicole, we're here on the south lawn of the White House, and it is quite a sight here. We are live from the White House. That's what they are calling it here in Washington. The first ever concoction of local reporters getting together, 9 TV stations from across the country in for a day to speak one-on-one with the president. I was one of those lucky enough to be chosen to go one-on-one with President Obama for this exclusive interview. A $447 billion jobs plan the president is trying to sell. It stalled in Congress last month, and now he is trying to revive that plan piece by piece. And he made his pitch to me one-on-one in the cabinet room of the White House. The president was gracious as he honed in on selling his jobs plan, which includes billions more in federal spending, including money for Virginia.
A lot of public sector jobs be created, teachers, cops, firefighters. What about the private sector? How much are we talking about for the private sector, especially Hampton Roads, which has a higher unemployment rate than Virginia?
Well, keep in mind that we've made progress in the private sector over the last 2 years. In fact, we've seen over 2 million private sector jobs created, and almost a million private sector jobs created just this year alone. The challenge has been even more in the public sector, where there have been a lot of layoffs at local levels, and that's part of the reason why the Jobs Act is important. Making sure that teachers are back in the classroom, cops are on the beat, firefighters are able to do the incredible work that they do. That's good for private sector businesses as well, because if teachers are teaching our kids, they're also paying their mortgage, they're also going to the local restaurant.
Something affecting Hampton Roads greatly, a lot of eyes on the Congressional Super Committee that may cut as much as $500 billion in defense that could greatly affect the Hampton Roads Tidewater area. My question is, how can we justify spending $447 billion on a jobs bill and at the same time stand to lose $500 billion in defense that would greatly affect Hampton Roads?
Well, keep in mind that my belief in terms of the defense process is that we're going to have to take advantage of ending the war in Iraq, transitioning down from our presence in Afghanistan. But we've got to do it in a gradual way, not in a sudden way. And there's no reason why you have to see those kinds of draconian defense cuts as long as Congress does its job. And the way to do it is to have a balanced approach, the one that I advocated, which says you've got to not only reduce spending, but you've also got to have additional revenues from the most fortunate, from millionaires and billionaires who can afford to pay a little bit more.
The president, of course, referring to that 5% surtax on millionaires, something Republicans in Congress were having none of in their recent debates about this. The president also said that his jobs plan will create some 30,000 to 35,000 jobs in Hampton Roads alone, mostly first responders, firefighters, teachers, all those public sector workers he's talking about that he says will also encourage the private sector to grow because of all those public sector workers getting jobs. Back to you.
Hey, Tom, you mentioned it was you and 8 other journalists. So how did you get selected to interview President Obama?
That's a really good question. We had a lunch with one of the president's advisors, the 9 of us, and we were talking about just that. And they said that they selected certain stations, #1 TV stations in certain markets in certain states, one from each state that they thought was very important to get this message out about the jobs bill. And keep in mind, Virginia is a very, very important state to the president. It is what they call a purple state, meaning it could go either way. So it is very important for the president to reach voters here in Virginia.
Very good move, we can say that. All right.
Tom Schaad live for us there from Washington, D.C. Thanks, Tom.